Okay. Hello and welcome back to the Nights at the Not-So-Roundtable podcast. You can find us on various platforms, such as Twitch, which is Night at the Not-So-Roundtable, N-I-G-H-T. YouTube is Nights at the Not-So-Roundtable, that's plural, N-I-G-H-T-S at the Not-So-Roundtable. We are on Twitter, it's Nights _ table. And then on Soundcloud, it's D&D_Nights. I'm joined today by Brian, Gerry, and Schaub. And we sadly did not have a session today, so there will not be a VOD going up of our current session, and we're not really going to talk too much about it because it obviously didn't happen. But, what's going on, guys? How's everyone doing?
Tired.
Tired? Yeah, me too.
It's going.
It's going, yeah. We just started recording all of our intros. Currently, everybody here right now has all of them done, so if you watch the stream, you'll know what I'm talking about, because I kind of just touched last session on us getting all of them done. Still waiting to do Anders. He's been a little hesitant to do his, to say the least. Moldrak is currently graduating. Well, Duluth. Congrats to Duluth for graduating. But he sent me all of his stuff. You just got to do it. And then hopefully we can get Brandon and Ashley to do some intros too. That'd be pretty cool. Just like later on though. I don't want to like make them do something and them not stick around. Like they should show up and they just like, yeah, this really isn't for us.
Right. Yeah.
Hopefully by the end of the month they'll be playing with us though. All right, so when me and Schaub did the first podcast, we talked about, like, I had him explain from his perspective our like current campaign, the one that we run and like stream and everything right now, had him explain like the plot, like what was going on for you guys. So for you two, for Brian and Gerry, like what I want to kind of ask is kind of explain the world itself, how Zaxxria is actually like made up, if you can, like the best of your knowledge, how you know it to be made up. Like when it comes to like what the continents are, the kingdoms, if you know any remember any rulers that rule the kingdoms or anything like that, just anything.
Okay. Well, I know the main part of Ophelia.
Right.
Keeps like isn't it the capital?
Yeah.
Keep is.
Well, it keeps like the main centric point.
Right. So
Ophelia.
I know the dean's the head person there. There's Brunswick, been around there.
Yeah.
Don't remember who was like in. I don't remember who was in there.
It's like a
I don't remember who was like
trade
why
city.
we went there.
Yeah.
I just know we've been there.
That was to find Malzerium to defeat Tenebris.
That's right.
It's where you guys met Shadow.
It's where I met Shadow, Leland, all that stuff.
Skip's been to Tenebeth for a considerable amount of time.
Tenebeth, the holy city.
With Alari? I don't remember her name. I have it written down in my notebook.
Oh.
The high priestess.
Yeah.
Alaria? No.
Kylaria?
Something like that.
Something along those lines, yeah.
I mean, we got Southbrook. It's mainly humans. A lot of like ships and trade go through there.
Because it's like a chain of islands, right?
Yep. Connor's from the capital there.
That's southwest of the main continent.
Yeah.
The islands.
Towards the north of Ophelia, you got the mountains.
Brimshire Mountains, yeah.
Brimshire Mountains.
I almost said Yildgard.
That's the capital.
You got their capital, Yildgard.
Yeah.
What was King Yold? I couldn't remember what number he was, but he was he was one of the numbers.
Yeah, King Bertrand Yold. I believe the 4th or 5th.
Yeah. Not sure, but there might be a Durgar situation going on there.
Still. Just a little bit of one.
So they're out there, and then not too far from there was where we fought Tenebris.
Yeah.
In that
right over the
Darkness Temple.
Right over the lake there.
Yeah. Like Rumenheim.
Like Rumenheim.
Yeah.
And then there's like a river set in like pretty much breaking the main continent into two.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very dangerous to get through there, from what we've noticed. Then you have the Elven Kingdom. Inside the forest there.
Yeah.
The redwoods.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't visited there yet.
No, it's hard to get in.
We got in there, but it wasn't really a.
We never
were
met anyone
like
there.
barely in the redwoods.
Yeah. On the border. There's that.
Mm-hmm.
We've been to Ezra.
Top, according to our map, we're not sure how precise it is,
Mm-hmm.
but to the northwest, you got is it Ezron?
Ezra, yeah.
The Dragonborn home. Get the frozen thing.
Northeast, you have it's just like frozen tundra,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got southeast. You'll have Akest and Azash and all that,
Mm-hmm.
where we are currently.
Nasayu.
And then if you go south from there, you have the desert, and we're currently on our way to Nasayun.
Right. How are you expecting that to play out?
Skip standing on the boat. What y'all?
Skips what?
Skip standing on the boat. Next thing you know, you're gonna find him on fucking blocks,
Yeah.
sitting there, no arms or legs.
It's a lot shadier of a place than what I was thinking it was going to be.
Yeah. What were you originally thinking it was going to be?
I was like, every place has its bad people.
Yeah. Right.
So, I wasn't expecting it to be, we're not even there, so we don't know exactly what it's like.
Right.
But
From what you've been told.
From what we were told, it sounds like you're just going into pretty much a war zone.
Yeah.
Thieves, probably people trying to rob you
Mm-hmm.
constantly. So we're gonna really have to keep our guard up. That's what I'm guessing.
I thought it was gonna be like Egypt. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, like temples and
Yeah,
pyramids and
that's
stuff.
my expectations. Temples and just vast desert.
Mm.
Apex hasn't been there yet, but it's probably gonna be kind of like the odd one out, maybe. I don't know, since he's a new guy, he's not really a keeper. He's kind of just tagging along.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to. I'm guessing you might have to start showing something in order to deal with some of the people that might be there.
Right. Could be very interesting. Some stuff being revealed. That's kind of exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
From the words of Schaub himself, some stuff may come out.
We are ready for that.
Yeah, I know you guys are.
Anytime you want.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait.
And I kind of thought you guys knew it was a little bit shady of a place, just because of Siegfried kind of explaining he's from there and all of this other stuff that related to it.
Yeah.
But you guys don't really know shit about Siegfried
No.
either.
No,
Not at all.
not besides
He was into some
a
bad
few of the
shit.
stories he told us
Right.
about his brother.
Yeah.
I remember, or I have the saying written down for attempts to find him.
Yeah. And that's kind of crazy too, because that was months ago.
Oh, yeah. It was close to a year ago, maybe.
Yeah.
So, hopefully it works out. Ander and I last session we attempted to get charter through a different boat, but
Yeah.
that didn't work out too well.
Yeah. If you watch the VODs on YouTube, you'll see who they're talking about. Not a very
Fleet.
friendly captain, a part of the Royal Fleet of Southbrook.
Supposedly.
Yeah. Supposedly. Okay. I see where your head's at. I see where your head's at.
Trust no one.
Trust no one. Trust nothing. D&D.
Yep. I'm really hoping we don't get attacked by that sea creature on our way down there.
We deal with it once. We do it again.
You guys are fairly close to the shore.
Yeah. And that thing was in deep water.
Yeah.
I feel like on our way back to Ophelia, then we might have a problem.
I just hope we fight something out at sea because we got a nice boat we need to use.
Yeah, it needs to get out.
It's
We're
not a
still on
mini.
the same one. We're still on the same boat, so the one I made out of styrofoam is the one you take back. That's if you went with Offboard, which is the plan right now, currently.
Yeah, we sailed off already.
Yeah. Going from there all the way back to the key.
Yeah. I mean, we only got 2 days, so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From when you get to, let's say.
Yeah, so. It's gonna be rough.
Yeah. Takes like a day or two just to get there. Maybe 3. And then 2 days there to figure out whatever you guys are trying to figure out.
I don't even know why we're going there.
I'm not sure either. If I'm being honest with you, I really don't know what the group consensus to go there was. I think Ander wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I know Moldrak has something that he's looking for there.
Right.
And then Ander wants to find Siegfried
Yes.
for some reason. I don't remember. But
He
said
never
just wanted to-
told us.
He didn't tell me either.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know either. Which I kind of like. I was
Uh-huh.
going to ask him, like, why are you looking for Siegfried? But
I mean, I figured since we're so close, and then him and Moldrak both showed interest on going there, why not?
right.
Because why travel months at sea to get back to the main continent, just to travel months to get back there?
Right.
And we can spend a few days.
Skip might be getting a little irritated about it. I was just letting y'all know.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
He's got some shit he's got to take care of.
Right.
You know, some important shit.
Yeah, Apex wants to take care of some stuff too, but
Yeah, that's a good
Everybody's-
point. Yeah, everyone's got
dodging
stuff.
going there.
he's not in the power to say anything for
Mhm.
what the group does, so he just tags along.
Mm-hmm. But then also knows it's imperative to like actually get back to the keep. So knowing like, okay, this is my best way there
Yeah.
because I don't fucking know.
Eventually,
I'll
we're
get
gonna
there
end up
without
going
them.
there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of places and where we're headed, I kind of have like a question for you guys that I just thought of myself. When it comes to like cities or towns or just kingdoms in general or just anywhere, like even if it was a different plane or something of that sort, like where was one of your most memorable like favorite places you've ever been in any campaign?
The Feywild
Yeah.
with the sprites
Yeah.
getting shrunk down and going in the log.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, I can't say Limbo was a
Yeah, I was
good
gonna say-
experience.
Limbo was fun for when I came in with that little character for the
Mhm.
that one shot to rescue my other character and Brian's character.
Yeah.
That actually was badass.
I like the little the hovel that the assassins were in,
Oh yeah.
That was cool too.
like kind of like underground.
Right.
That was cool. I like right now like how like Teneveth was used as a kind of like for all the people having issues with like the orcs and
It's like a refugee camp.
Yeah.
In a way. Yeah.
and like the way you were explaining it, like just tents piled on tents.
Mm-hmm. Very packed. And like still being rebuilt.
Right.
Like think about that. This is what I'm trying to like put into perspective too. Like I feel like I didn't, describe that enough. It's like for you guys when you first went to the keep. So I'm not sure how familiar, how much you remember like of Zaxxorian history, but there's all of these different like epochs or eras that occurred that were like these defining moments. So it all starts with like epoch of creation. All of the good and evil deities create all of their things, create Zaxxria, put evil in the world, put good in the world. After all of that happens, the epoch of like resolution occurs, and everything's trying to, like humans and mankind and everything are making mistakes and learning from them and starting to actually become civilized and do all of this stuff, and people are realizing, okay, am I evil? Am I good? What am I doing? Who am I as a person? Then after that, that's when the arcane, the era of like the arcana starts coming through, where Gillian, there was no magic during those first two eras.
Right.
There's nothing going on. But Gillian, that was just a human, just a normal human with just ridiculous intelligence that ended up finding this kind of way of using arcane power and these ley lines and things that are naturally in the world, because all of these gods creating this place and making it and putting things in it, all of this magic just kind of naturally settled in the world itself. So then Gillian, seeing this, knowing it, being very intelligent, actually ascends to godhood by creating magic and arcana and things, and then starts, after doing that, starts putting it into the world, and people are kind of naturally born with it, and then scrolls and things are, written about it. Then, after everything's starting to settle down, the eradication happens. That's the orcs being savage, like orcs and tieflings really going to that darker side of themselves, and they're, just pillaging, attacking people. All the tieflings are like summoning demons to the world and trying to destroy all like these holy places and holy relics and just wipe everything out and turn Zachria into nothing but like chaos. The eradication lasted 147 years. Yeah. The 43rd year is when the keep was made.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the keep goes on for that long, and that's like those generations kind of cleaning up things and making everything more peaceful. For you guys now, even though shit's like a little dicey at a lot of times, it's pretty peaceful for the most part.
Yeah.
There's not a lot going on other than the Tenebrous arc that had occurred and the Dreadhand tribe that you dealt with. So this, now, 73 years into the Epoch of Peace, that's, 144 years after the keep was established.
Right.
That city's still rebuilding itself. That's like how brutally destroyed things were. Like you guys were still there and there were still large chunks of stone like all over the place. Just because of how tore up it was.
Jesus. Yeah, we also, we still haven't encountered a tiefling yet.
No.
Not at all.
Have not. And I think we talked about that before when Shaddy brought it up. Asked if you guys had seen a tiefling, and I said no. From what you guys know, they are either somewhere dormant in the Nine Hells or in hiding, to your best knowledge.
Mm-hmm. I thought, like while we were fighting Tenebrous, his little disciples, I thought those were going to be tieflings.
Yeah.
But they weren't.
Very, very special things in mind for them, for sure, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, things I had in mind before we even actually, like, started playing or anything.
We're still on the favorite places?
Yes, we are. That
Okay.
was just me going on a tangent.
Yeah. What was I can't remember exactly where it was, but we went to some place in the last campaign where we had to use our intelligence as our move speed.
The astral plane.
Was it the astral plane?
Yes.
Yeah, we had
I
the
think your movement
connections.
speed
There's like
it's either the astral
cords.
plane or the ethereal plane.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm trying to think, and I should know this.
I think it was
Yeah,
astral.
I believe
I think it was
it's
astral.
actually the ethereal plane.
Was it?
Yes, because I don't think you guys went to the astral plane.
I don't think we...
I'm pretty sure we'd die if we did.
I don't think we
Astral
went
Dragon's a
anywhere
real
the
thing.
last campaign where we had to use our intelligence for movement speed.
When you guys came across the... Because Eidos was like flying around, like zooming.
Was he?
Yes, he was moving very, very fast. And
Oh.
you were like, I am so slow here. I remember it.
Dalen
Yeah.
had low intelligence.
Dalen was like, what was it, an 8 or something?
Yeah.
And then you ended up getting something that increased it.
Yeah, it was my hood.
Yeah. Because you like couldn't read.
I had a plus
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. It was that thief education.
I was the smartest, not smart guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm almost positive it was the ethereal plane.
So I remember they had like the cords or whatever, the like ethereal kind of cords that like almost like the Matrix or something
Yeah.
that kind of came from our heads.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I don't remember his name, but he had like the Jamaican kind of accent. I think our leader.
Oh,
That
your
took
guy.
us there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name either.
I'll say he was like a druid of some sort.
He was. He definitely was.
No one knows Sylvanas was in that campaign.
Hmm?
Wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that had that tome for Ito. Or
Mhm.
Yeah.
They came out of the tree that ended up being a fucking giant golem.
Mm-hmm. It was a big ass tree ant.
I don't even remember what we went there for. Were we
I
trying
think
to
the
get
astral
someone?
plane is where you have connectors.
I'm all over the
Because
place.
that can get severed and you can't get back to
Yeah,
your
because I
body.
remember him explaining to the player characters to
Yeah.
not let this thing
'Cause-
break, or
'cause
else
it's
you're
a
going to be stuck here.
Astral projection spell.
Yeah, that's right. It was the astral plane then.
Don't remember exactly what we were there for though.
Glad we didn't run
I don't
into
I
remember
that.
think
either,
you
'cause
guys
I don't even
went-
remember going there.
You went there in order to get. Oh, maybe not.
Did someone die when we went there?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think you went there in order to get to another world. Yeah, there was. See, this is what's kind of messed up. There's so much stuff happened that last campaign, and I was just thinking about this too. I was like, I can't like remember
No, we did too much shit.
There was so much going on in that last campaign.
And a lot of like mindfuck stuff with like
Yeah,
the time
way
travel
time
and
travel,
stuff. And
that was so fucking annoying for me.
Tim the Timekeeper.
I had like 2 or 3 pages of stuff that was like related to things that I was gonna do because of the current like time frame.
And then it got
Just
destroyed.
crumpled all of them and threw them away.
I mean,
This is dumb.
we ended up going back in time because Ezekiel and Eidos were about to
They
drown,
were drowning
and then
in the water.
the
plane.
book takes you back in time to a random time, or
It,
it
No,
was random because he
select-
didn't specify
you select-
because he
he
was.
selected. He didn't say like a time, like a date. He just said before the orcs were attacked,
Yes.
or before Thukal's village was attacked, or something like that.
Yep.
And then it took everybody
Yeah.
all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
We were there and we were at the village with Thukul as a baby, and
Mm-hmm.
could have did the go back in time and like kill
Kill
Hitler
everything,
kind of thing,
right.
but didn't go with it.
No,
True.
instead we went with, hey, don't attack these guys even though they're right here.
Yeah. Time was altered a little bit by the things you guys did. The name of that town was changed.
Westfield was changed.
The
I believe.
actual king, where it was Emperor Sar Sandal, I
Yeah.
remember that guy's name. His son actually took over serving.
Yep. Even though in
he was
the
an ass.
in
the first
in
time
the first
he was
timeline he was trying to assassinate him.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember going through some town that was plagued with a disease as Owen
Those
going through and curing people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that the astral plane and the limbo were probably the two that stand out the most to me.
Yeah.
Probably.
And just for the sake of it being the first major thing that ever happened, I think, was the Drow hideout in the very first major campaign.
Oh yeah.
The deep underground with the
Yeah.
gate that we didn't know what was behind it and still don't know.
They just started killing
That's when
themselves in
Shaddy
front of
just
it.
wouldn't die.
Yeah.
Shaddy's playing this like half-orc fighter.
Black
Had a big ass pole arm,
Glaive.
like a glaive or something.
Yeah, glaive.
And he was surrounded by like 10 drow. Like I had all my drow minis just around him, and he's just like stabbing and like swinging this
Yeah, he
thing
was fucking
around,
him
knocking people down. And then I actually got him down, and then he came back up with the 1 HP, and I couldn't hit him because he was just like doing some crazy shit. And I was rolling really bad. I'm like, dude, I swear I'm rolling like shit back here. Like I cannot hit you. He's just standing there with 1 health, like takes down 3 people, and he's like breathing heavy. Shaddy's like, holy fuck, we gotta get out of here. And then there was a little place inside of that drow hideout where
Shroom room or
there was
whatever.
like a room. Yeah, it was a room, and it was making you guys like all loopy and shit. And you were trying. Somebody was trying to. I think Blackrock turned on you guys and was trying to like attack you.
Was it Naran that went insane?
Yeah, no,
He was
it
like
wasn't. You were
a
just
million
keel
emotions.
over, laughing, and then you'd start crying.
Yeah.
And then you were yelling, and then
Yeah.
you were just like smiling, standing there, and then you frown, and it was really fucked up. Yeah, it was weird.
I don't remember what character I was playing at that time.
Naran was Necromancer. That was my guy.
I don't think Owen was there.
That was the last, the
Bellman.
one before that.
Blackrock.
that
No, I'd have been fucking Malgus.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
who you would have been.
Whenever I tried to get training my zombies to hold the rifle that we got or whatever.
Oh
and,
my
like,
God.
honking.
They were like breaking arms
Yeah, they
off.
just shot it in their
Yeah,
arms.
their
flew
arms.
off.
Anyone else
Wow.
remember when my bird got one shot?
You changed your pet to
Yeah.
a panther,
Fucking panther.
and that took you a while to do too.
Yeah, it took me a good fucking 3-4 sessions. For it.
So, before we move on, is there ever a time when we'll find out what was behind that gate?
You did say it was very bad if it opened.
Yeah. So I'm probably not going to use that plot for anything because I already have one lined up for this one if there are ever a drow incident or where it made sense. Because you guys do know that drow exists in the universe. You've been told that.
I mean,
Wolf-
we've encountered
Yes.
Durgar, so I'm
Yes,
pretty
and
sure
you
we
do know
believe in
that,
Drow.
Afine, who is the elven goddess in the
Mhm.
world, created a tree
Yep.
within the kingdom of Venore, which the elves kind of have sworn to protect because that tree is like this kind of beacon of light
Yep.
that keeps all of the drow at bay and underground.
Mhm.
So, like, you do know that they exist.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility for it to happen. I already have that all lined up if it does. But for that, that like room back there, essentially like opening that, I was gonna like end the campaign because I was like, there's no way they stop everything that's in here. It was pretty much just like very, very well trained. I'm trying to think of like a movie that I could relate it to. But just imagine like an elite army just being behind that door, like a civilization that's just in a slumber and is just completely, almost like petrified in stone. And then opening the doorway breaks some sort of a spell that's holding them all dormant. And then they just all awaken.
It kind of reminds me like the Necrons from Warhammer a little bit.
Yeah.
Rising from their tombs, and they're like really elite soldiers, kind of.
Oh,
they just march forward and like annihilate everything in front of them.
yeah, that's what they were gonna do. I feel like the Drow were the main bad guys in that kind of campaign too, so it would have made sense.
Yeah,
that would have been interesting. That would have been a campaign that ended in a way where you guys weren't like, you know, like you didn't win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, my first thought was a really massive like demon lord or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And
I was expecting a giant spider. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
She would have been in there too. Yeah.
Nice.
Or some like world-ending kind of artifact that like no one should have it, so that's why it's behind this really huge gate that is impossible to get into.
Like the deck of many things.
Yeah.
The wish spell, perchance.
Or the time that Eidos almost killed me.
Alright, I keep asking you guys a bunch of questions. You guys got some stuff on here. Preparations for so many people. Who put that one down there?
I put that.
You
For
did?
you.
For me.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of us playing, so how do you find the time to juggle, like, our stories and everything?
That's a pretty good question. How do I do it? I don't know.
So good he doesn't know how to answer.
The biggest thing is, like, prep for me is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't see it as a chore or, like, a task in any way. Like, preparing things and thinking of all these storylines and how things connect, it's like, I've been wanting to do this all my life. Like, the creative side of me is just like, holy shit. I was telling Schaub, like, I've never had, like, a platform like this before he showed me to actually get all of this stuff out. Because me and Jared be in the backyard, and, like, Brian, when we were younger, and, like, play with swords and shit in the backyard all the time, and, like, have all these kingdoms and, like, crazy zany names for each other and all sorts of other stuff. We'd, like, do Deadliest Warrior in the backyard and, like, make stats for, like, Spartans and all this other stuff. We did. We were
there was a time
really into all
I'm
this.
pretty sure Jared had a garbage can lid and you were sitting there with a bow and arrow firing it
shooting at him. I don't know how we lived as children, and I don't know where the fuck my parents were. but we made it.
There was some funny times.
But we made it, and we had a lot of fun. And then I got to D&D, so like prepping is super easy, especially like with you guys. I know I give you guys shit sometimes. Well, not all of you, but like it's like just do this little bit of reciprocation because that does so much for me. Like even randomly when you sit there and you're like, hey, like Deleuze hit me up. He's like, it's been going on for a while, and you know, Moldrak's initial intentions really aren't the same anymore. And it was like that for a lot of you. You know, you went to the Keep originally for one thing, but later on it changed. And Deleuze just kind of came up to me and was like, look, like this is what Moldrak is feeling now, as opposed to before where he was like dead set on getting stronger just to go back and reclaim his land for his tribe. He's now dead set on like, you know, there's a lot bigger things in this world than just my one tribe in a frozen tundra isolated from all of society that people don't even know of. There are hundreds of thousands of people walking around that are completely oblivious to things and could die at any second. So like the fact that you guys are, like I said, I give you a lot of shit, but at the same time you guys are pretty into your own characters and are pretty involved in them and are able to really sit down at the table and go with your whole story and like work as your character and role play as your character and stay with your storyline. Like you don't veer from it. You don't try to just start like doing random stuff all the time. Like you stay in your lane, and it makes it easier for me because it's like, okay, I do all this prep when I get inspiration seeing your backstory, and it just stays there because I don't have to, you know, go back on it. Like I already have when Connor goes back to Southbrook. I've already got it all written up and everything's already all done and ready. all the encounters, like the social interactions and everything. Yeah. I already have it set up for Skip when he goes back.
Same.
Those are the very
Two
first...
birds, one stone. You got Southbrook and Indiana.
Very first backstory
Same spot.
I ever did. Yeah, Skip's was the very first backstory I ever, like, fleshed out. It was like, this is what's going to happen when he goes back.
As soon as we decided when we were making our characters, I'm pretty sure I was over here.
Yeah.
And we went through Warforged, and I think I sat on the couch downstairs for about 5 hours trying to figure out a name for a Warforged, and we came up with Skip.
Yeah. And the way we came up with it, too, is we were like, look, we're going to call you this really long name that's an abbreviation, and somebody's going to figure it out.
Yep.
Somebody's going to have to be like, can we just call you Skip? Everyone was like, we're going to call him Skip.
Skip!
Yep. Of the Andros Protectorate.
It was Skip.
Yeah. We're going to call him Skip.
Skip.
It's like,
Squip.
Squip. Right. And we were like, we're going to call him Squip. Because the O and I and the like T. It's like, no, come on, guys. Do better.
And then I think the dean introduced him to us. I'm like, this is Skip.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Fandel. I introduced myself, and he said, I've just been calling him Skip.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
But at first, when you guys kept knowing, it was like, oh, I'm sentient, I'm the Andros Protector. And then every time he met somebody, and you guys were like, well, you just call him Skip. It's kind of, it's getting to a point.
We're still doing that.
Yeah.
Whenever we need
does
something.
He sometimes calls himself Skip. Other times he'll call himself the Sentient Knight.
Yeah, just back and forth.
It's like a nickname versus his surname.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, now he asks if you want his full name or not.
And a big thing too, like going back to that preparation thing, when it comes to sessions, it's kind of a little easier because the prep is less. Mm-hmm. Because there are so many of you, and all of you are different. None of you want to do the same thing or think the same way. So the sessions, I'd say 80% of a session is improv. Like, I'm just kind of running with it, letting you guys create the story yourselves and run into these things. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, okay, this is what I want to do, and it just kind of lines up with things that I already have in place. So it's like, yeah, this is going to happen and occur in this way. For the most part. There is a ridiculous amount of preparation, though. Don't think I just improv a lot, because I don't. A lot of it is prepared and gone through, but when it comes to like actual sessions, I do a hefty amount of prep, and then it's like, okay, you guys could do something totally different and I'd still be fine. And that was just from the early campaigns of like playing and me preparing all this stuff and trying to make it this almost like linear game like a Final Fantasy, but then realizing it's like, holy shit, like I can't do this. Like this has to be like Skyrim, like I gotta be ready for anything.
Right.
I think that's my problem with how I'm trying to prep for a game.
Yeah. You really have to just try to let it
go with the flow.
Yeah.
Especially I'm trying to like flesh out a whole world and stuff and name all these different characters and what could be in it and stuff. And
biggest thing for me, like trying to like help with that is like as a DM, and I don't know if this will help anybody out, but for me, like when the Keep first started, I had all of the kingdoms fleshed out, right? I knew elves were in Venore, so on, etc. I had the names of the rulers. I didn't have any of like their commanders done or people that are actually in the city, any shops, anything like that, until it started kind of getting to a point in the story where it was like, oh, like maybe they're gonna go here. So when you guys started like itching towards going to Yoldgard, I was like, okay, it's time to get into that and start fleshing that out. And it was like, even like if you guys would hint at it, be like, well, we could go up here and see what's going on there. It's like, okay, I write a note like Yoldgard. Like, work on it, blah, 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 doing that. So you're trying to do, like, Shadowrun, right? Yeah. Make it, like, some shitty little part of town that they really can't get out of because isn't, like, poverty a pretty big thing in there? Like, don't you eat?
It's kind of just, the world's run by, it's like Amazon.
Right?
It's like Amazon runs the world.
Amazon runs the world. Right. So, like, just make it, like, this little shitty town that they just don't have the money to go anywhere else, just make it like only a select amount of people. And I still have in my notebook, I would show you, but it's just a bunch of names just right there. It's like human names, and there's like male, female, dwarf names, male, female, elves, male, female, and then there's like dragonborn. There's only like 4 on there because you barely come across them, but just like having little stuff like that to even if you're like sitting there and they're like, you know, oh hi, what's your name? It's like, look down at it. Oh, that's his name. Like, don't even think twice about it. Don't put too much thought into it. Just first name you see, come right back. Oh, how's it going? My name's Samuel. And then you just run with it. And it's like, who the fuck is Samuel? And you're just sitting there thinking in your head, okay, well, where are they at right now? Because it's like, oh, your guys are in, like, Yoldgard, and it's like, the guy's got an accent like he's from somewhere else. Like, even if you fuck up, because originally, fuck, who was that? God, I was just thinking about this the other day. But I had an accent for somebody that had nothing to do with where they were. And then I was like, shit. Why is this guy here? Why is this guy here? He doesn't sound like he's from here, but why isn't he from here? And I'm just staring at you guys like, thinking all this in my head, like, oh, fuck. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And the biggest thing, too, is like, you guys have no idea when I don't know. So, like, when you're sitting there and you're like, as long as you don't start getting like, fuck, you should be fine. And we're not dicks either. We'll just run with it.
Like, I can write pretty well and like plan stuff like that out, but it's like trying to find like the above and beyond stuff, like the music, the minis,
yeah,
the board and stuff, the stuff that you don't need to play but you still want to have it because it makes it more like engaging and enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Well, you just got all those battle mat things, right?
Yeah,
are they
try
more
using those.
Fantasy though?
Well, there's just a blank one that you can use,
mm-hmm.
and there's like a stone one, like more of a deserty one and stuff.
I have had so much fun making all of this stuff. Like, it doesn't feel taxing at all. The only thing that was kind of shitty was all the squares. Those sucked. Like, those little dungeon squares that I made, those things sucked. Because it was like, I'd like cut one, and then I'd like score it and put all the lines in it. And I was like, wow. And then I'd look and there'd be like 4 feet left of this board, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to be here all day. It's going to take forever. And you still got some like 40k stuff too, right?
Yeah, some minis it could maybe work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like terrain though. It's like I don't have cityscape and stuff like that, and buildings and the inside of a like science compound or something like that. Or
I was thinking about stuff like that too. Like, you could do, like how I did that XPS foam. Just cut like a good square out, and then make it look like a finished wood floor or some sort of like bar type of floor, like tile or something, and then just build like a little bar and some like dinky tables to throw in there, even like from a pizza box. You just take that center thing out, cut the legs off, paint it black, boop, set it down, you're good to go.
I know you've done that way too many times for tables.
Yeah, I did. Did a lot. Yeah. When we had that that mat there. It's like got
the tavern
mat. Yeah. Just picked up 3 of those.
He's gonna get that 3D printer working again.
Yeah, if we had that, we could print a building.
Yeah. Okay.
And then like a street too. I was thinking you could just make like you don't even have to make like squares. You could just make like long pieces about like a foot by 4 inches, and just paint a street on it, and then tile it out that way. And then just put like shit compacted on the side. I'll send you some links because I feel like I'm just talking about a lot of how like build terrain. Yeah. But there's this DM Scotty, I think it is. The DM's Craft is this YouTube thing. There's also a Black Magic Craft, but they primarily do like fantasy stuff, not like sci-fi. It's more like medieval. But they do this thing with like shoe boxes, and use it to make like buildings, like several buildings. Like they'll take the base, set it down, kind of go on the side and just draw on it, and then you start like cutting everything out, like the doors, windows, and then you just stack like a smaller box on top of it. Like you take like an Amazon box, just kind of keep stacking them, make it look like a skyscraper. I was thinking about that the other day. Yeah. So if you're ever bored, you're like, hey man, you want to just start making some shit? I would totally help.
Sure.
You just come over with random shit. Like, you can just bring anything. I'm like, okay, we're going to make this into a car. Just wait. It's not going to look amazing, but it's going to do its job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be exciting.
Yeah. Also, favorite encounter for you guys?
I kind of wanted this to be like a 2-part question. So like favorite encounter of this campaign and then past campaigns.
Okay, so far this campaign, your favorite encounter, because it's a lot easier to.
Mine would be Tenebrous.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
actually fighting him.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's like, well, for Connor as a character, after what happened to him from Tenebrous, so like getting killed and everything, and then, you know, I guess if you want to put it in a way, like exacting his revenge.
Yeah.
So, and it was just like a big weight off his shoulders.
Right.
And also I got to use that really cool scroll.
Yeah. That'd easily be my favorite encounter too, because that combat didn't end how normal combat would end. You know?
No.
Where it's like, okay, we drop him to 0 hit points and we win because he's dead.
No,
he was taken out of existence because this super strong scroll was the only way he was gonna go out of existence.
Mm-hmm.
He was way more powerful than like he should have been. Like for you guys to just normally fight.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, they can do it with this. Like they have to do it with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember
we
you guys
also
being
made like a lot of strategy. Like we.
Oh yeah, you guys
like,
really thought it out.
We were.
Which made me really happy because at first you guys were like, we can't do this. Like we need to go somewhere else and get stronger and be better and like look for research and stuff. But I like kept making it a point like, nope, we gotta do it now.
I remember Shadow egging him on a little bit to just do it and like just be confident in yourself.
Yeah. Which was really cool because he was usually like soft spoken, but then he just kind of came forward like, look, like we can do this. I'm gonna help you. And you guys ended up doing it.
And then last campaign, probably the Sand Kraken.
13-hour session.
It was a long session, but
it was really cool.
Dalen was in there flying
Could
through
not
its mouth.
get you at all. Couldn't get him. Like I was trying to
dodging every like pit of acid.
Yep, all of this stuff falling in the inside, and then I was like, "Oh, you can see the." It was a tablet you were trying to get from it.
It was the stone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh yeah, there was. It was the.
It was one of the elemental
Earth and Fire one. Yeah. I was like, you have to make a strength check to like lift this rock off of here and get it, but you just did something like completely creative and got it, and I was like, oh. Okay.
I think I used water to like clean it, like to like help dirt move through or something like that.
Yeah, it was something super creative, and I was like, he got it. You win. You guys win. But on the outside, everyone's like, fuck! And you're just flying through the...
Well, we had help, too, from Malzerium there.
That was
no, it was the other guy.
Magnus,
yeah. He used Meteor Swarm on it.
Yeah.
Didn't Athena help?
Yes, she did. Or, a Valkyrie.
Yeah, the Valkyrie.
Did she send the Valkyrie? It
wasn't
her.
Yeah, it wasn't her, though. But yeah.
That fight was cool just for trying to imagine the size of it because
it was huge.
I mean,
we never got to see the whole thing.
Insane.
Yeah, I was in there for like 10 plus rounds before we even got rid of it.
It's in my room.
Then we got out, and then we killed it. Once I got out there,
it's like miles long.
Yeah,
multiple miles.
We still don't know.
We were walking in its burrows, and it was freaking huge.
We heard it coming that one time.
Yeah, it was like a train.
Yeah.
And it was like moving, and you guys were just sitting there for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was
it just still kept
It was
moving.
Emrys.
Yeah, Emrys.
And Eidos, I believe, that were watching it.
Yeah.
Go past. I think Bellman was asleep. I remember sitting outside that worm and just smacking it. 9 attacks. Jesus.
That thing had like 1,000 plus health.
Jesus Christ.
You guys were also like level 13.
Yeah. That was way above our pay grade.
We did what we had to do.
We killed it.
Yeah.
Like there was like whole cities in its mouth and like inside.
Yeah, it's ruins.
And then after we killed it, Eidos turned into the dragon.
The black dragon flew us through it because it was resistant to acid.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Did he do that with a wish spell?
No, he could just do
he
that.
had the
Fuck.
he had the true polymorph.
True polymorph, yeah. Eidos was pretty strong.
I know.
Eidos was dope.
It could have been 13 if he had that as a spell then.
No,
That's
we were
That's a 9th
We
level
were
spell.
like
we're pretty
sure.
high up there.
Was that when
like
we were
15, 16?
was that when we were like at 18 or whatever, but then we dropped back down because
Yeah.
the
We had
mask
to.
Oh,
Yeah.
We had to get leveled up to fight it because we went to that one city and there was a guy standing there, and I think Bellman was the one who went up to him.
Before we fought that, we went and fought the white dragon
Yeah.
because we were like, we gotta get stronger and we kind of need some money too.
Yeah. Like for the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you guys went and did that
We're like,
contract.
hey, you gotta prove
Seal.
yourself to us. Go kill this white dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And then there was that other contract for the guy that was like smuggling stuff.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys did that too.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was
a
pretty good.
vampire.
I had another contract through there where you guys were going to pretty much like sneak into Horzer, into like one of the like Grand Mage's like rooms and steal something that was Malzerium's and bring it back. Mm-hmm. It's like an amulet.
You were
or
trying to
something.
push a love interest onto Dalen there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't falling for it.
No. I tried. That was not going to end well, by the way.
Oh, I don't think it would have
She probably would have cut out your damn kidneys or something.
left me on a block of ice.
Right. Left you in it.
So what are you guys?
From the last campaign, it had to be the Kraken, but from this campaign was the
Yeah.
the giant snakes. Yeah,
Mhm.
the queen.
Yeah.
That was fun.
This campaign would be the hideout, the sawmill hideout,
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
rescuing
yeah.
Rosaline,
Yeah.
and then so that was just fun trying to do the stealth and recon and
Mhm.
kind of like the Splinter Cell type thing and
Yeah.
trying to like kill guards as they would rotate around and stuff.
And then they were like, wait, like, why is there 7 less of us?
They found one body, I think,
Yeah.
too.
Then that guy got murdered.
Yeah, we like
after.
hung one or
you
something
put
with a
one-
message.
Yeah.
Hung one outside of a tree that was right out the front door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you like took his sword, buried it through his chest with a
Mhm.
piece of paper in his chest.
Yeah.
Then from the last campaign, just for like the story and the lore of it, was going to the hells and facing the
Giant
who was
demon.
the leader of that layer? Mammon.
Yeah, Mammon, Lord, the demon lord of greed.
Yeah, I mean, even though that wasn't really much of an encounter because we stood no chance.
Indulge you guys.
Just to be fair, we stood no chance against that guy.
No.
Just being there and the whole story behind it was very cool.
Yeah. And feeling like I remember Jared telling me like afterwards like, dude, like I was afraid. Like I was sitting there like genuinely afraid because you were describing all these big ass demons and devils and them like looking at us, and we were like super strong when we were on like the normal plane, but like there like we just felt like afraid. Like holy shit, if something pops off, all of these people are gonna try to kill us and we're gonna die.
That feeling of hopelessness, kind of, when
Yeah.
seeing
Set it
Mammon
real quick.
Yeah.
was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Something you haven't really experienced too much before.
Right.
Like,
because it was always like, oh, we're strong as fuck. We're strong as fuck.
and
can
if
do
we were
anything.
like starting to lose, it's kind of like, I don't think we still got this. And
Yeah,
so this is where it's like, we don't have this.
we don't. We need to leave. We're gone.
Yeah.
I
Connor
think-
had that feeling about the Tenebris fight, too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
And I didn't blame you at all. I remember thinking like everybody
Like, I know
we
I
have to do
messaged
this.
you. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not going with this. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, I don't blame you, man. I
Like-
get it.
yeah.
I remember Skip felt hopeless being down the throat of a snake.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Well,
fun.
what about the mouth of a T-Rex?
That was... Okay, Skip's been in a lot of mouths of different creatures, alright? A lot of things like to pick him up and use him as a chew toy.
Bullet.
Yep, Bullet for one, then a T-Rex.
Bullet on the side of the mountain.
Those
Bullet on the side of the
encounter
mountain.
was really
Yeah, I
cool.
thought that was
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite
I
one,
was
to be
playing-
I was
honest.
afraid that little shit was going to toss me off.
I was playing Orem, that campaign. I knocked like 1 or 2 of them
that
off.
session, yeah. Knocked him off with the, what the fuck was that? His little
whatever.
knockback thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he gets damaged, you can knock him back.
I think my close second, and the only other part I felt like hopeless was the aboleth.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty gnarly, too.
That was like a scene right out of a horror movie.
Yeah, people were just disappearing, and you'd hear screams in the distance, and then would just know, like, holy shit, like, it's close.
People are throwing up, their bodies are spasming, and
Yeah.
that was gnarly.
I don't remember that.
That was when they were underground with the Durgar.
Shadow had just rescued all the captives that were deep underneath that drill tunnel.
Yeah.
A huge ass hole.
Mm-hmm.
They were crossing the water.
Yeah.
The water.
The
I like the
water.
quotes on the water. Yeah. It was water. For sure.
It was water.
Exactly. A lot of times too, like with monsters, like I don't, I use the books as a very, very basic guide to what, like, to give me like ideas for things, and then I just have it in my head how they are. Excuse me, like in my head how they are. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot more to aboleths, but I was like, this makes a lot more sense to me if they're like this.
Yeah.
Because like, really, an
I think,
aboleth
like,
would
one of-
enslave those in like that entire.
They would have all been
civilization.
dead.
Yeah, he would have just killed them all.
Yeah.
He would have like lured them in.
Because it's
with
like
mind
if you
power.
swallow it
It's a mind
or
flayer,
something
isn't
like that, you're like, you contract a disease, I think, right?
Yeah, and
then
like,
you just die if you don't heal it within 24 or 48 hours.
Yeah.
I think they like resurrect as slaves or something though.
Yeah,
like,
once
Yeah.
they die, they come
Yeah.
back and they work for the aboleth.
Yeah.
It's a mind flayer, isn't it? No.
For what?
An aboleth is a mind flayer, isn't it?
No,
I'm
it's
unsure what that even is,
yeah,
dude.
the aboleth. I don't think you were there.
I don't think I was.
Yeah,
So,
that's what happens when you're not there.
There's like
now.
a whole-
You miss shit. That's what I'm saying. Like I can't.
that one guy that makes all those YouTube videos has like
Mr.
a real...
Rex?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's been making more lately about D&D
a
stuff.
lot.
a lot of dragon videos, all the different types of dragons.
But he has a
Trust the
whole
Dragon
thing
Journal.
on aboleths.
Yeah, watching it.
Yeah.
At that time, everyone was
Chicken
crossing
monster
the bridge, from like hoping that someone was gonna hear something.
Like, I didn't watch that until, like, we went through that. I was like, man, I think we would probably all die if we tried doing anything against that.
Oh, for sure. And I was like, I hate to throw shots at you here, Schaub, but after that happened with Shadow, I was like, this guy's gonna end up getting into some shit that gets him killed or gets him in a bad spot. Like, he was like very, very good at what he did, like being sneaky and like over here. But then it's like one bad roll where you fuck up, and then everything just goes downhill from there. And I was like thinking to myself, like, this campaign's gonna be a lot harder, so some shit like that definitely will happen. And he was like, all right, I'm gonna go do some recon, and I was like, uh oh, Shadow, no, brother. Then it was like, all right, fuck, this trap's got me. And then I was like, they were like, fuck it, okay. Waited. That was cool though, like getting away, like waiting for him to come up, and then you're like, engage the trap, and popped off.
Yeah, he tried to be slick, but
Yeah, shit happens.
Not slick enough.
It's a rough dice roll.
not too offended or by anything.
Good.
I mean, I like my characters. It's not like I just don't want to move on and play another one, but
Yeah.
character death is also, I feel, kind of important sometimes in campaigns, and
I
you want to just be the heroes
when
that
Gorak died.
Yeah.
I feel like the heroes that just make it through the entire thing with no
Yeah, like you
no
have
loss.
just, like,
It's like
protagonist forever.
yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. Like, I think when Gorak died pretty early on, it put it into a pretty good perspective, and then a good amount of time went on where nobody really died, and then Connor went down and was brought back, and I was like,
Exclusively.
okay, holy shit. And then later on, well, more time went on, so I hope it's very clear that death is a very, very possible thing for anybody at any time. I love everybody's backgrounds and everybody's stories, and I don't want them to die, but I'm making the world to the point where if you don't, do things right, you will die. And I feel like that's how it should be.
Right.
But before, like the campaign we had last time, like, you guys brought back quite a few people.
Yeah, we get to those.
Yeah,
You
Dalen
got resurrected.
Came back as a human.
when you get those really high levels and high level magic, the game kind of changes a lot.
Oh yeah, because you can't. There's this. You can like with Eidos. I told him that wish spell, dude. It's just ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah.
Just even like we just went wherever we wanted, teleporting.
Well, that wasn't even really us. That was just the cities
the
interconnected.
Yeah, that was my fault also. I wouldn't say my fault though. It made the campaign a lot better.
Yeah.
Just because everything was a lot easier to like access, but then it got to a point where I started to realize like, yeah, this is way too easy to be done. So like, you guys haven't seen any sort of like teleportation magic in this campaign really yet.
Except for Cornelius popping out of nowhere.
Cornelius, yeah. You do know that people are able to.
That and when we entered the Tenebris's lair, like teleported us somewhere.
Oh yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah. You guys.
Shadow kind of knew about that a little bit because of his backstory.
Right.
Which I guess that could be explored more if they cared at all. If anyone wanted to, because I don't know how much of an impact it'll have on the story of the campaign, but or if they'll ever even find out anything about it. It's very unlikely given
probably
his story.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody probably would. This pretty much only pertains to Connor. Explaining the cosmological sorcerer. You don't have to like give in depth like at level 3 you gain the following abilities, but just like break down like how
So I have 3 different phases I can be in. And pretty much at any time. I can take a short rest to change through the phases. Or if I get hit for a certain amount of my health, I can drop into another one. So the 3 phases are sun, moon, and stars. Probably 90% of the time he'll be in stars.
Yeah.
Mainly because he wants to be safe. So if an enemy misses him, he can teleport a certain distance away. It's half times your sorcerer level.
Yeah.
Times 5 or something like that. Or half your sorcerer level times 5.
Yeah.
So it's normally like 25 feet. 25 feet.
Yeah.
So he gets to stay somewhat safe. The moon one will give him AC according to enemies around him to a max of I think 20. And then the sun deals like a very little amount of damage back to the person.
Yeah.
Like recoil damage. So they'll attack you, and I think it's like the same thing, like half your sorcerer level damage back to them. But just depending on which set I'm in, I'll get different bonuses to what I get to do.
Yeah. When you originally like thought of how like you were gonna play the class and how you play it now, is it the same? Like when you made the class and thought, okay, this is how I'm gonna play.
Well, when I made the class, or like when I found the class and stuff.
Yeah, well, not made it, but you know what I mean, the character.
I mean, a lot of stuff has changed in like Connor as a character as well.
Right.
So, like, I was going for somewhat themed type spells, in a way. Then he died, and that had an impact on him. And he changed and switched to, well, he has a few necrotic spells now, which really was like endorsing like the darker side. Makes sense.
No, it does. Like with Blight.
Yeah, Blight, Toll the Dead, stuff like that. But it really hasn't changed too much.
Right. It's still very centric to like the galaxy and stuff.
Yeah.
Like all of the descriptions and things. It's not like you're becoming a necromancer or anything. It's just the spells are a lot more brutal and, you know, I wouldn't say darker, but
I think it's important to point out that at the keep, necrotic magic was like, do
very
not touch this
Yeah.
at all. And
Yeah.
that was where Connor was learning a lot of stuff.
He learned a lot about necrotic magics.
Yeah.
I mean, I guarantee he probably came across those spells once or twice.
Oh, easily.
Because he searched through tons and tons of books with Professor Fandel.
Yep. And trying to find stuff on Tenebris, yeah.
Tenebris and Jakar. It was about Jakar.
Oh, yeah, because he was alive still.
Trying to figure out how to kill him, how to break the spell.
Then you ended up finding out he was still alive because of
still
something. Because the Dean's brother.
Yep.
Had enchanted him by accident as well. The keep.
Because he was in that explosion.
Yeah.
His magical explosion, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What about the Oath of Protection?
We went through it a little bit last time, but
what would you like to know? That is my question.
The channel divinities. I know the without hesitation is the one you use 99% of the time, but the other one's shielding nature.
Yeah, I can essentially.
They give more AC.
Yeah. +2.
And I think it's +2 AC, and
+2.
then they can't benefit from Shield of Faith when they have that bonus on
They
there.
have something for strength checks too, I believe.
Advantage on strength saving throws. Yeah. So it's like useful, but without hesitation, just for you, how you play Skip is a lot.
It just makes more
useful.
sense narratively.
Yeah. And then without hesitation, you can either use an action to link yourself. You stay within 30 feet of somebody, and then you can split damage any way you see fit between them.
Or you can do it one time.
Yeah, or anybody that's within
10 feet.
10 feet of you, use reaction to, I think it's half their damage. I'd have to look at the thing. I don't remember. You just don't use the other part of it. You're always linking to somebody, so it's easy to
No, I think I can do one time, take as much as I need, and take the damage, you know what I mean? And it's only a one-time thing.
Right.
Instead of linking myself to somebody for the action and constantly
Oh, right,
taking it.
right. So instead of just being linked to one person, you can just be around everybody, and then reaction, somebody takes it, you just...
Yeah.
Right.
Instead, via the one with the action.
Yeah. But it's closer. You have to be within 10 feet of them as opposed to being linked for 30 feet.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. I was just sitting there thinking to myself, why wouldn't you just stay within 30 feet of a bunch of people and use it? But that's what I was thinking of before when I made the channel divinity. And then you actually gain, put air quotes here, around necromantic spell, false life.
Yep.
But it's not...
It is, but it isn't
necromantic
at the same
way,
time.
right?
No,
it's not
it's
used
just
like that. It's like you're a part of your being. Like it's just hard to explain.
It just gives you temporary hit points,
right?
Essentially.
And I figured that was just for you, just being kind of a hardy individual, and like that Oath of Protection, you'd want to be a hardy individual.
Yeah,
so having that spell is there, but you don't really use it ever.
Waiting for the right time.
Yeah.
When I see fit to use it. I have 103 health, and I don't really have much.
Well, false life gives other people health too.
Yeah,
I think you can touch other people and give it to them.
I think. I'm not sure though.
That's why I was kind of excited for the session today. I had a lot of stuff planned for Skip.
Yeah.
I had a whole little thing of a jigger, but we'll see it next week.
So Apex is first.
First feature for the
Shadow. He went through a couple iterations on the subclass for the rogue did.
Yeah.
At first it was kind of like that, almost like a general kind of approach where you could you create shadows and then command them. There would be like weaker versions of shadows that could move around.
Yeah.
You could have like two of them, and then as like an action you could swap spots and like consume that shadow, and so you could like be real mobile.
Right.
And that kind of just ended up being a little tedious a bit, and like too much setup to get going in the middle of combat.
Especially combat starting, and it's done in 7 or so rounds. So by the time you get everything.
So the final version, he kind of just went into like a shadow form, where his like visage became kind of like wispy and
dark,
like fading and stuff, and you could kind of like the monk's ability to jump between two shadow points.
Right.
And then when he would swap, could like transfer a little bit of that energy into his next attack.
Mm-hmm. Which made sneak attack really cool.
Yeah. And that rogues only get like 4 abilities and are really far spread apart on the subclass. So that was the only ability he ever had. But he was about to get if you leveled up and didn't die, you had the ability to create the shadows.
Yeah.
And they were just gonna be, you just could create them, and then they can just do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or like swap with them or anything.
Right.
Just give them a mental command, like a druid would create a magical beast or something.
Right.
And then 13 was just gonna be like better synergy with the shadows. Like you could like listen through them and speak through them or whatever.
Right. So for like role playing kind of aspect thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And 17, I don't think I really finished because I was so far ahead.
Yeah, it was a way.
They really
And the
pointed
way
it
we
out.
were leveling, it was like we don't really need to touch on this too much yet.
Yeah. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool concept.
I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but for me, like with Shadow, I feel like he kind of, and it was weird because we didn't intend it to be like this at all, but he kind of just served like a purpose, like in the story. Came in at this certain time, helped with defeating Tenebris, like was there
Yeah.
at that, and then naturally kind of later on, you know, something else happened and he had passed away. Maybe the way that he did die could have been a little different, but I feel like he was really there, served his purpose in helping against Tenebris, and then it was like, you know, naturally how I would imagine actual, you know, if this stuff, you know, I'm not gonna say it's real, but like if this type of thing were to actually happen, it wouldn't be these same 6 people doing all of this over the span of, you know, several years. You know,
Right.
some people are going to die, people are going to be replaced, people are going to fill in spots, people are going to be more thematically appropriate and kind of fill in a hole and fill that role that needs to be done for this certain kind of thing.
Yeah.
So for Shadow, I feel like he really kind of played that part. Even if it
Mhm.
was like his purpose was just to give them that push to go fight Tenebris, like he served it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like that. You just said we're not the Avengers or whatever. We're not
Yeah,
like
there's
these
no protagonist or whatever.
great superheroes.
Yeah.
We're just people. There's characters living in the world like everyone else
Mm-hmm.
that just happen to be a little stronger than the average person.
Right.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah. Nothing too crazy. Not yet, at least.
Maybe once we get our name out there, we'll have more recognition.
Yeah. There's a thing on here. Changing the rules, homebrew mechanics. Is that you, Schaub?
Yeah. So that was just like making our own, like not following the core rule book
Yeah.
to the T and being the rules lawyer and stuff, and
Right.
like you changed flanking completely
Yeah.
from what it was in the book, like
Yeah.
requiring a certain amount of creatures
Yeah, and it went off the deck scores of
and
creatures.
deck scores. What else? I don't know. What other mechanics have you made or changed?
There was a time when we tried out a different initiative, which I actually kind of liked.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I was getting
different.
a lot of. I think I had like two
Yeah, you had
rounds
2 rounds
sometimes
before
before
anybody would do
like
anything.
somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of Shadowrun-esque a little bit, like how. it
Yeah,
works
we
in
did
there.
that, yeah. Like you're gonna make a melee weapon attack, so you roll this die, and then it just kind of like do down from there.
Yep.
A lot of times, like when it comes to like rules in combat, I know there's one for, like the one for grappling we do. It's like, you know, you're making an athletics check to try and grapple them, but they can either do athletics or acrobatics, and then. There's a lot of stuff that happens though where we're kind of just like looking at each other like I don't know what the actual rule is, but this is what makes sense. So
Mhm.
that's where I feel like a lot of the homebrew stuff kind of comes through. Because that video you sent me today, I watched it for the flanking,
Mhm.
and it was kind of explaining like how easy and simple it is to get advantage. Like yes, it makes sense. Like yes, I'm in front of him here, behind him here, opponent in the middle. He's distracted one way or the other. But, you know, maybe in the way I was saying is like maybe in this certain time, like yeah, it's your turn. Maybe he's not looking behind him and he's looking at you, so the flanking shouldn't really apply in that moment. So for me, like when it came to the flanking, it was like there has to be more of an intensity. Like there has to be more people surrounding. So it's like for medium, there has to be 3 creatures, and their dex score can't be any higher than 20, I believe, right?
Yeah, if they're 20, they don't get.
Yeah, they
flanked.
can't be flanked because they're just aware and kind of dexterous and everything. And then it goes to large after that, and then large creatures you have to have 5 people surrounding them, and then their dex score can't be any more than 18 or something. And then for like small, it was just normal flanking rules. Their dex can't be any higher than 20 something. And then tiny is just unflankable, and then anything beyond, large just doesn't make sense to be flanked in any way because there's so much of it.
Like in that video, which was from, what's the channel, XP to level 3 or
XP
so?
to level 3, yeah.
It was explaining like you can get a flanking advantage by describing how you flank them.
Right.
It's more like RP in combat, which is something that doesn't happen.
I mean,
all the time.
which we roll with that sometimes too. Like,
Yeah.
somebody will describe something or say something, you'll be like, yeah, go ahead and do this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The other mechanic that sticks out that changed was resurrection.
Yeah, that's
kind of off Mercer's.
Yeah, it was pretty heavily inspired by that. I think the rules, I don't remember looking at the rules for his, but they could be very close. But it was like the DC starts to increase. Like it starts at like 15 or something, and then you contribute something to the check, and 3 people can do it. So it's very, very much like how he does it, but in the sense that like it gets increasingly difficult, and how you were brought back changes it, and how you died changes it and affects it, and that's all kind of like a DM discretion kind of thing.
I think resurrection was a good mechanic to change because that's kind of an easy way to cheat the game in a way.
Well,
It's
Skip
like,
just
I
got,
died.
Yeah, Skip just got Revivify,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's a very powerful low level.
Yes,
spell.
we didn't do any actual changing to anything yet, but we kind of came to a consensus like this spell is not going to work how it works.
Yeah,
the cast time is going to be longer,
Yeah.
and it's going to be an actual ritual. So now, if the time actually presents itself, as opposed to like, holy shit, like we can't bring this person back, like with Gorak. If Gorak would have died now, it's like, okay, we can actually try to perform this ritual, as opposed to having to run and go somewhere. But we're going to have to do this spell. This spell is going to take all of this stuff for us to do. There may be a gold cost in it if I want to do something with that, or maybe I'm contributing something that's going to be consumed and absorbed by the spell. So it's like, not you just walk up, somebody just get dropped to 0 hit points. You're fine, don't worry. I'm just going to come over as an action and poke you and you're fine. Like, it's just, yes, I can see in a world where that does make sense, but not this one. It has to be a lot harder. Death has to be a scary thing that you don't want to happen because that's not fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like that you can just change the rules.
Yeah.
Like, what other game can you do that in? And
Right.
you can still
and
play
you
the
can
game.
it still functions.
Yeah.
Right. You're not like breaking. And that's like my kind of big thing for us. It's like when we first started playing, I feel like this might apply to Shadowrun a little bit too, in a lot of RPGs. Is like, it could just be the way 5th edition's like made and set up, but you can change so much and still have a like fully functional game in front of you. Like we could literally do no mechanics besides the mechanics that apply to combat. All social encounters will just be based upon how you speak and like how the interaction goes, and like if I feel like you in that moment are being deceptive as opposed to like rolling a check, like you could literally just play the game with just the rules that are made for combat. Like you don't even have to have any of that skill checks outside of that for deception and insight and persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
Like you literally just need the rules for combat, and nothing really even says you need the rules for combat, but it just makes it a lot more.
Combat's kind of like there for like that situation when you're like kids and it's like I shoot you with my sword, and like no, I block it. And
yeah, right.
I shoot you with my laser pistol.
Yeah,
no, I got magical armor.
Yeah, it's actually laser deflecting armor. No, it's a laser deflecting piercing laser. Yeah, I died. Sorry, I can't think of anything else. That's where it gets to at some point. All right, you win. You're smarter than me today.
Yeah, some rules are necessary just to keep it smooth.
Right.
Keep the game smoothly running, but
right. Yeah. Any other like rules or homebrew mechanics you're kind of thinking of? I feel like the homebrew classes we have, kind of think of mechanics. Everything has a pretty decent balance to it now. I will admit, like with the shaman in the beginning, it was pretty damn strong, just because like I've never balanced a class before or anything. So when it's got to a point where I was like, okay, like, yeah, I'm looking at the kind of damage output, and even though they're similar, it's like the probability of, like, obtaining that amount of damage is much higher than this person compared to the shaman. So I was like, okay, we're going to scale it back a little bit. I changed some of the enhancements. The rounds for them got reduced as opposed to like a minute that it lasted. It's only like 3 rounds, so it's like he's having to really like think and apply spells. And then the spell table kind of recently changed, probably like 4 or 5 months ago. He's been dealing with the new spell slots. So
that's kind of cool how that works. There's like no other class that's like that where like one version is a half caster, but then you can like become more of a full caster if you take a different path.
Right. So like I said before, if anybody wants to see the shaman, let me know and I will point you in the direction of it. I'm not just saying it because it's my thing, but I think it's pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff with it that is very unique, I feel, to D&D. That still works with the system. Like his casting time for his enhancements aren't actions, but they're attacks. So it's kind of like the way that the class flows itself, it kind of works instead of on just spell slots. There's more mechanic to it to where you have to think a lot more. So for him, like he's applying, he can take two attacks to apply these enhancements, and then the next turn he's kind of charging himself up, if you would, for the next round to try to put all that damage out and do something like that.
I like the way the totem bearing can be utilized.
Yeah.
Like throwing out a lightning totem or something like that, and sitting around a corner and waiting for a bunch of people to come and then smack it up with a lightning bolt that goes through 4 people.
Right. And you play, it's like a spell that's being directed somewhere other than you, so you can like throw it so many feet in that direction.
I think it was 10 feet.
Yeah, you throw it like 10 feet in that direction, and as opposed to like being
and you can walk away
centered on you, right? Yeah.
You can
as
walk
long
away
as you
from
are
it, keep
within
it there.
range of it, yeah, you just
as long as you're within 30 feet of the totem, you can channel the thing through it, and it reactivates every time you come back and not 30 feet.
Yeah. And the way that it works is it's like the totem itself doesn't cost anything to place,
but it costs to make them.
But it does do that too. But I'm saying like the totem itself has the spell imbued into it, right? So say it's a 3rd level totem of lightning bolt. You take it and you throw it down as a bonus action. Just costs a bonus action to throw it. But then when you cast the action, you use this activate totem spell, and then based on whatever level is imbued in the totem itself, that's what spell slot you expend. That like makes sense?
I remember casting lightning. That was my favorite one. Was a totem of lightning bolt.
Yeah.
I remember throwing them down in, what is it, a 15-foot line that goes through or something like that.
It's like, I
think it's 15 feet.
It's like so many feet wide, like no more than like 3 or something. It's like very narrow. But it's like 30 feet long, I think.
Yeah, it can go through people.
Yeah, and it just goes through whoever's in the line. It's a pretty cool spell.
The biggest thing I remember about that and your character was being pissed when the totem got destroyed, and you need like dragon's blood and
all
sorts of crazy.
Oakwood, dragon's
Holy
blood.
shit! You needed oakwood, dragon's blood. Fuck, you had to
troll
carve.
eyes.
Yep, you had to carve the spell into the totem. So there was
and that took so much time and magic.
Yeah, one died and like one got destroyed in the combat. And
oh my god! I remember someone said, "Oh yeah, one of your totems
broke." It was the first time too.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even playing him either.
Yeah.
I think who was playing? I think Deleuze was playing him.
No, you were.
Was I?
No, it was you.
Was it?
That was,
I remember his name. No, I'm saying
Caligatho. I can't remember his first name. No, that was your guy's last name. Sorry. What the fuck was that guy's name?
He's from like.
He's from the mountains.
He was a Goliath. Kalagani tribe or something like that.
The Kalagani tribe, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was his first name?
Billy.
Oh, it's hopefully it doesn't. That would have been upsetting. I don't remember his first name.
I don't remember his first name. I have a sheet somewhere.
It starts with a K.
I don't think it did.
Dude, it definitely started with a K. It's like on the tip of my tongue right now.
I remember it was what I used to name all of my Goliaths.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't want to sit here and think about it because I'm going to jump out the window or something.
Gregor.
Thank you.
That's it.
That a boy. Thank God. Gregor. Gregor Kalgani.
Yep.
Wow. That took
too much
so
effort.
much.
Yeah, that took too much effort just to find that guy.
I got a headache. I was sitting like trying to brain
Gregor of the
brain blast.
Thulu Kalgani tribe.
Thulu Kalgani. Look at you,
Yeah.
remembering things.
My last point on the homebrew stuff, I like when I was like designing my classes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like having options.
Yeah.
It's like something that a lot of stuff in the core book doesn't really give you too
Yeah.
much for some of the classes.
You get some spice to the gameplay.
Well, and like in general, just like
Yeah.
making things like having
Yeah.
options as a player. Like when I started with the shadows, like there's so many options you do, like between swapping shadows, using the shadows to
Instead of
attack
being
and
very
stuff.
linear with what you have to do.
Yeah, and there's
The
and like the core mechanic of this class I'm playing now is options, and choices.
A lot.
Yeah.
It's very, very, it's very, very
the
cool.
Schaub was actually the first time I tried something homebrew.
Yeah.
So I've always stuck to the book, and then I started slowly coming off. I mean, Skip's still half in the book, half not. He's
like barely out of the book.
Yeah.
He just has an oath.
His race and his
race isn't homebrew. That's from.
He's the homebrew version, I believe.
Yes, he is.
He's the homebrew
He is a
version.
homebrew version.
He's the kind that just keeps getting heftier and heftier by the level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with a few more like features in the class, like you could literally do, I mean, you're close to being able to do just about anything you want.
Any type of thing.
We changed the
Story-wise.
rogue up a little bit. I don't remember what we did,
Yeah, we did.
but I don't remember exactly what we did, but I know we changed them a bit.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember.
I think
either.
we turned
Think it was
into
your
like an
sneak attack.
expand a thing where it was like once a day or twice a day I could get like an extra D6 or something to my sneak attack.
Yeah.
No, the armor made it so he was practically invisible the whole time.
That armor was
Well,
Fucking
probably one of my
stupid.
favorite magic items.
That thing was
Just
nuts.
not even because it's like really, really cool, but just all of the story behind it.
Yeah.
And like you had like
It was like
your
the
father's
sentimental-
name stitched in the cuffs or whatever.
it was a father and mother's
yeah,
name
it's your
on
mom
each
and
side.
dad's name. Yeah.
Had that.
The sword was pretty cool.
The sword was sick. Hood was cool.
Going into that, kind of segue into magical items from campaigns that you guys missed. First one I immediately think of is the one I had in mind for Pentalon. It was this loot, right? That, like, the bottom, like, so try to imagine a loot right now, right? So I'm, like, moving my hands how this loot would be, right? So there's, like...
Just for reference, Pentalon, I don't know if we ever mentioned him, is a halfling bard
yeah.
from the previous campaign, the first character.
Yeah, College of Lore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very high-pitched.
Yeah, high-pitched,
kind of
high-pitched voice.
similar to Andrew in a way where he was like kind of like the
Higher pitched than Andrew.
he was higher pitched than Andrew. He like
Yeah,
played
way
the
higher
leader role of the group
Yeah,
and stuff,
like-
and was like he was much like a big face of
Right.
the group, and
Right.
got into a lot of shit. But
Yeah, he did.
Just
And
a little preface there for
yeah, that
who
actually
Pentalon
helps a
was.
lot. So this makes sense why it's a loot. Bard. You had a lot of like really good songs and stuff too, and you're really embracing the bardic kind of side of it. So I was like, okay, a loot would be like really cool as a magical item, and you actually went looking for it. I remember you going looking for it in the verdant fields,
wasn't pure enough.
and you were not pure enough of heart to like actually get it. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be really cool for him to actually build up to this and do this, and then get this loot. And this loot is like this kind of like ivory base to it, and then there's like gold trim all over, right? And the strings are made of gold and everything. And then like the bottom end of the loot, there's like a hilt of a sword. And then when you like take it and just kind of like take it, speak the action word or do whatever, it turns into an actual blade that you can use. And the sword itself was imbued with the soul of a knight that had like this deep, deep passion and love for music, and loved all of the inspiration and stuff that it gave, and was very, very like very fond of it. So he was, when he went to Elysium, God, I cannot remember the name of that deity, but the deity pretty much for his service to that god had sent him back down to the world in order to keep serving as this kind of weapon for these good-hearted bards and everything like that. And I was like, this would be really cool. Immediately, that was the weapon.
That was the
magical item.
mausoleum he found.
Yeah, in the middle of the field.
Yep. And then you called Magnus and were like, I can't get this fucking thing open. Like, bring me home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's pissed.
Yeah.
He went home and got a baby mama.
Yep, he did.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That magic item.
Oh, that was pretty nice.
It had a name and everything, and I was like, I had this whole thing written up for when you actually like found out it spoke, and it was gonna be very, very proper, and like even as you
Did you turn that into the sword?
in a way, I did. I also had was gonna have two. This is gonna be really weird, but I was gonna have two of the, like, two sentient weapons in the party that I was thinking of, and then thinking like the weapons would actually like despise each other.
They're gonna have a conversation.
They would never be able to speak to each other, but would just despise each other, knowing the other's there. So they were like not. They weren't like super special. Like they always thought like I'm the sentient weapon.
I'm the only one.
I'm the only one, and then it's like, wait a goddamn second here. What the fuck? Did you say he's got a weapon? What?
If there's two this close together, there's more out there, and I can't have that.
Yeah, right.
Wait, why did he put his on the couch? Why am I on the floor?
Right. Take me out of this fucking sheet right now. Why is he on the display case?
That's funny.
Yeah. Other than that weapon, I had a fuck, what was that? I know it was some form of jewelry, but the jewelry itself pretty much just tethered you to a certain point. So when you either dropped to 0 hit points or used an action, you and only you would go to this point, and then it would break afterwards. So that's kind of where I got the inspiration for the bloodstone. Is like it kind of breaks after it is used, but as opposed to like bringing you somewhere, you're just tethered to it. So that kind of snaps, and then you regain some of that life force that was put on the inside. But I figured that would be really good for somebody who was constantly like going down, like Bowman, for instance. So like for him, like having that tethering it to the temple is really cool. I had some gloves for Deleuze that I ended up just knocking because they were really strong. It like increased his martial arts damage die by 1, and then he also gained an extra attack from it. It was just like this legendary monk kind of glove, and I was like, nope, he's gonna be ridiculous.
You would have to take away like it would be like this must use all 3 like slots or something like that.
Right.
Attunement slots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that dude was already slinging the pain.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, he was.
He was snapping necks and cashing checks.
Snapping necks and cashing checks. That's right.
And then fucking walking up invisible staircases at it too. His the boots that he had.
Oh yeah, those boots were pretty cool.
Where you just run, then he can climb all the way up, then climb all the way down.
Yeah. You guys fought that Etten, and he had those, or it was like some sort of giant. Maybe it was a Fomorian.
It was something. A Fomorian.
But he like had a very, very Doctor Strange with the artifact kind of things. I can't remember the guy's name. That's like his instructor when he's there. But he jumped up 3 times with them instead of like just walking like it was a staircase, and then just like punched it in the face. And I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet.
I want to go back in time to that dragon shadow katana now.
Yeah, that sword was pretty sweet. But see, here's the thing, guys. Don't be sad, because I have good magical items already like in store. Like that staff.
I got the staff.
I've had that staff playing for a very, very long time. That staff's pretty cool.
Could have played a dragon.
We're not done with this conversation. I could have played a dragon.
Hold on. Stop.
Rewind.
You realize this.
It's okay. That dragon got put in a headlock. So
yeah.
Could have been a friendly dragon.
That was... I can't believe that I did that.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, like I was saying, I got a lot of really good magic items in mind for this one. A lot of like really small ones too that are like not attunement, but they're very, very cool. Like little, don't do any, like crazy impactful stuff, but it's still like very unique and cool. So I'm excited for all of that.
I'm interested to see how magic items will work with my class. Because,
right.
I mean,
in what way?
Yeah, please explain.
Me and Schaub now.
Please explain.
Gods of Zaxria.
Gods of Zaxria.
Who put that on here? So
Me.
you. What was that for? Like knowing who they are?
Yeah. Getting to know them a little. The ones that we know, you'd think we'd know. Because I know a couple of them.
Well, name the ones that you know.
Ephiel,
Right.
obviously.
Goddess of love, life, and hope.
And then Moradin.
Yeah.
The sea one, I don't remember his name.
Thassa.
Thassa.
Woman.
That's it.
There were quite a few that were explained. Athene, which is the elven goddess, like deity, creator of all elves.
Mm-hmm.
Morden being creator of all dwarves, obviously.
Creator of all Warforged.
And then Fel being the creator of all humans and like kind of life like that. Then there is also Yandala, which is a normal god within the pantheon, like the multiverse for halflings.
Mm-hmm.
I created a homebrew like dragon deity that you guys have not learned about.
There was the Yantees god.
Yep, you learned about the Yantees god, Miraseth.
Mm-hmm.
You told me a little bit about it, I think, right? So what
Yeah.
you're talking about?
Yep.
With
Right. Where
potential character interaction coming up.
Right. And then when it comes to like evil deities, Erebos, you're fully aware of him.
Yeah.
Or dude.
Then there's Grugar, who is the Duergar deity, and I would have to double check. Loth is still the deity for the Drow, but you guys haven't really encountered that in any way. There's also a lot more evil deities that you are unaware of, and a lot more good deities that you are unaware of. Orem originally was going to be a cleric of Keranos, who is this pretty much god of like storms and thunder.
That would have made sense.
Yeah, that's what he was kind of leaning towards originally. Because he plays Orem more on the storm side than he does the dwarven side.
I don't know, maybe you can transfer.
That's what I said.
Like maybe start.
And then Malar, you know of Malar?
Yeah, goddess, god of the beast.
Yeah, and beasts and things like that. So like each race kind of has their own deity that they worship, but then all of these deities that created these people kind of have this universal understanding where it's like, we are the good guys. We don't want our race to be wiped out from something evil, so they're universally like kind of worshipped, I would guess, based on wherever you are. Like when it comes to Matthias, even though he's a human, he still would, Malar bless you anytime you left. He was just with that culture and everything, so it was very universal in that way.
Right.
The pantheon itself, there's all of the Connor's really the only one who even knows anything about this, but Delbert Fleming's kind of perspective on planes. So it's like, I don't want to say too much about it because I might reveal things that I thought were obvious but weren't obvious. But there's all of these different planes, and they were kind of drawn and laid out in this way. But the book kind of explains it a little differently.
He had a different layout of how everything is.
Yes.
Than what everybody
believes
thought.
It is. Right. So there's like Shadowfell, like kind of normal D&D kind of world if you would look at it like in that way. So there's all these planes of elements, and then the the Shadowfell, my shadow plane, and then all of these kind of upper planes above it. All of the good planes, Elysium, Mount Celestia, places like that. Elysium's where
Ephiel is.
Yeah.
I think Skip wants to visit there sometime, but not really at the same time.
Visit there is a good way of saying die.
No, not for eternity.
Right.
I think after seeing the Beastlands thing, Skip's kind of wondering maybe there's a way that you could get to Elysium through this, through the same way. So it's
I didn't even think about that. Before we wrap this up, upcoming expectations. I know we kind of already talked about it, but like next session, like what you guys are thinking.
Sand, blood, no. I think there's gonna be a lot of shady people, a lot of mistrust, a lot of holding on to your gold, and trying to walk through the city type deal. Kind of like what was that one city that we went to in the other campaign, where we went to go find Kyle's druid. I don't remember the name of the city, but he was real really bad, real shady, and I remember Bellman walked in with 300 gold and walked out with nothing.
Yeah. You got pickpocket.
Yeah.
Next session, probably we're gonna have to be able to talk ourselves out of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of negotiating.
I already know that. And we're also gonna have to search for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Who may not even be here. We don't know.
Well, hopefully we can find
I really hope we do.
the person that we need to find first before we talk to him. Because if we run into him on the street, I don't think that's how Billy's having it planned.
We go with backstab and deceit.
Yeah.
That makes me think even more about Apex. Thanks, bud. Just bringing us here to kill us. Surprise.
All right. I think that's a good place to wrap it up for now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fun as always. We'll sad we didn't play today. I would have
Yeah.
loved to have talked about that, but it'll be good for the
Life
podcast
gets in
next
the
week.
way.
I'm pretty excited for next week. I have a good feeling afterwards. I really don't want to have everybody here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
So
get the other three.
yeah,
or
so
something.
I'll try to have the other three here probably. See what if one of them don't want to stay, then feel free to fill a spot. But thanks for watching. Nights at the Not-So-Roundtable. Please be sure to check us out and follow our other platforms. Night at the Not-So-Roundtable on Twitch. Nights at the Not-So-Roundtable on YouTube. Follow our social media. And also be sure to listen to our podcast. All of the support is very, very appreciated. Anything anybody wants to add before we take off?
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was actually trying to get the, it's Knight's Table.
Nights table.
Yeah.
And the Twitter is nights_table.
Knights_.